Hi everybody, Clark Smith here. I'm the winemaker for Winesmith, and welcome to the latest episode in my gracious living in the time of Corona. Today we're going to do a recipe that I invented for mustard caper chicken with a little bit of an oriental flair. So why don't I go over all the ingredients you'll want to assemble to make this dish. So first of all, you need 4 chicken thighs. Now, this is going to be a keto recipe, which is a little bit different than other kind of diets. Ketogenic diet is very low in carbohydrates and high in fat. So I'm going to leave the skin on. We're going to use chicken thighs, which are, to me, more flavorful and have more fat content to them. And I'm going to leave the bone in for flavor and just for fun. So I've got 4 of those. I'm going to serve this on a bed of you might use rice but in a ketogenic way, and also because it has more flavor, I'm going to mince up some cauliflower and use that instead of rice. We'll also need a couple of scallions, which I'll cut up as a garnish over the top at the end of the dish. We're going to want some mustard to make up the base of the sauce. I hate French's mustard. I just think it's repulsive. I don't know why anyone would ever eat it. It's so sour. And so you can use any other mustard than French's in this dish. The so-called prepared mustard, to me, it's just awful. But I'm going to use Grey Poupon here, but if you wanted to use a stone ground mustard or even a hot and sour mustard with more kick to it, that would be fine. We're also going to add to the tartness with some apple cider vinegar. And we'll be using the juice from these capers, and so those all have a little bite to them. And to mitigate that, we need something with a little bit of sweetness. Now, in a ketogenic diet, we don't like to have very much sugar. If you're going to have sugar, you should have sugar that's very sweet. So, although I've used honey in this dish, I really like the rich sweetness of the fructose that you have in a nice orange marmalade. So we'll just have a tablespoon or 2 of that in the dish to balance everything else out, and then to give it a little bit of an oriental flair and a little more umami taste. You can use soy sauce if you want to, but I like Bragg's Aminos, a little lighter and a little more complex. It's Calvin Klein designer soy sauce, basically. And then we will also add some toasted sesame oil for a little bit more richness of flavor. We're going to be pairing this dish with my 2008 Pinot Noir. Now, this was in a 20-year-old French oak for 10 years, and so it's developed a great deal of nuance. Besides just still having a nice fresh, believe it or not, after all this time, nice fresh cherry aromas, but also lots of sort of marzipan and toasted marshmallow and some other really intriguing things that go very well with this complex dish. Now, to begin with, and you've seen me do this before, I have the way that I like to prepare chicken is with these 3 ingredients. And so the first thing we're going to do is put in, a lot of people don't like curry powder. But I guarantee you, no one will know that you have curry powder. It really just makes chicken taste more like chicken. And so here's a good Madras curry, and I'm going to sprinkle it on there, and then turn everything over and sprinkle it some more. There we go, and now I'm going to toss this around so that Madras curry is all spread out. Also gives the chicken a nice color. And so then the second part of that some granulated garlic. This is not garlic salt. You don't want to use garlic salt because it's going to be a salty dish anyway. Granulated garlic, to quote the impoverished student's book of cookery, drinkery, and housekeepery, it is difficult, though not impossible, to misuse garlic. My other secret sauce is, and it is another thing you probably want to hide from your guests, is Lawry seasoned salt, which has some paprika in it, and just really adds the flavor. So more of each of those on the other side. You know, some more garlic, and we're again going to toss all that around so that it's evenly coated. So we've got this head, and we're going to make slices along this way. Nice thin slices. We don't want to include the stem of the florets because that's not as lacy and delicate, and it can. And now we'll just put that in a steamer here. And that's going to steam right alongside of the chicken that'll be cooking. Okay, now let's cook the chicken. Now you can use any skillet that you like, but I really like waterless cookware. This stuff very conductive. It's a sandwich of surgical stainless steel with some conductive metal on the inside, and it allows us to cook without adding any oil or fat. So it does a nice job. It's all completely non-stick, very easy to clean and take care of. Now I'm heating the pan, and it's hard to tell exactly when it's ready, but it's ready, it's hot, when it makes water droplets dance. So just like that. That's perfect. To brown this chicken, and the first thing we'll do is just take it all and kind of push it up against the sides. I've got 4 thighs, and they should just barely fit. And the first thing we're going to do is just put a nice brown on the back side. And that's also going to draw out some oil in which the chicken will fry. So that's going to sit there that way for about 5 minutes. And, all right, that should be just about right. When they're ready to turn, they kind of break. They don't break free, but they're easy to lift off of the. And you see how that just comes right up, and it's got a nice browning on the edge there. And we're just going to flip them all over. Look at that. And that's going to bring out the flavor. And now we'll be able to cook the underside in that chicken fat that we just pulled out of the skins. All right, so now we're going to put our sauce together. First thing we need is mustard. So put about a tablespoon for each piece. Now some soy sauce, or in this case Bragg's Aminos, just about like so. And a little bit of apple cider vinegar. Put in some of this orange marmalade for sweetness to balance, and of course for that wonderful citrus flavor. I'm going to mix this. So just turn turns upside down a couple of times, and now we're starting to get not just a topping, but a real sauce going in all over this dish. Oh boy, this sure starting to smell good. All right, good. Now that we've done that, now I'm going to put my capers on top. Of course, they are pickled in vinegar, but they're also salty. I'm going to put some sesame oil here, but some of the flavors in sesame oil get destroyed by heat, so we're going to add a little bit more of this right when we plate the dish. And that's it. And now I'm just going to put that on low and let it go for 35 minutes. Now I've also started the heat on the cauliflower here, so that should be done. We'll just be checking in on that with a fork, and we'll shut it off as soon as it's tender. Okay, that's 35 minutes. Now I was keeping close watch on the cauliflower. It really only takes 8 or 10 minutes for it to get so that a fork will go through it easily. You still want it to have a little bit of crunch, so you don't overcook it. And when it is done, you want to put some water in there so that it ends up still being warm, but you stop the cooking, and then we're going to use that for our bed. So then here's what we've got now, and you can see that it's done a nice job of mixing itself up so that that sauce is becoming pretty well integrated. But now we're going to take those out so that we can finish the sauce. Don't they look good? They should have shrunk a little, as you can see they have. We want to make sure that they're done all the way down to the bone. And then we need to scrape and mix this. We want to get all of the drippings off the bottom and incorporate the whole thing together. We're going to put a little bit of cherry and bring the heat up. Just let that deglaze and add a little bit of flavor. Lay out a bed here. And I'll take a couple of the smaller ones here. Dress up the garnish with a little more, a few extra capers. And then some of our scallions to add some freshness and some color. And voila. All right, let's see the doneness that we've got here. Just cutting right next to the bone to make sure. Just the way you want it. And we'll take a little slice here. So flavorful. All right, now let's see if I've chosen okay here. This dish has so much different kinds of flavor. And this peanut just carries you away with all these old and complex cherries, spice, and toasted marshmallows. Well, if that's not gracious living, I just don't know what is.